procedures for criminal investigation. Certainly, when it comes to retrieval procedures for criminal investigation, there are several case steps that law enforcement agencies typically follow. Here is a general overview of the process. First, securing the crime scene. The first step is to secure the crime scene to preserve and protect any potential evidence. This involves establishing a perimeter, restricting areas, access to authorized personnel only, and preventing contamination or tampering of evidence. Second, conducting a preliminary survey. Investigators will conduct a preliminary survey of the crime scene to assess the situation, identify potential evidence, and determine the resources and expertise required for the investigation. Third, documenting the crime scene. Detailed documentation of the crime scene is crucial. This includes taking photographs, making sketches, and creating written notes to accurately record the layout, position of items, and any other relevant details. Fourth, collecting physical evidence. Investigators will systematically collect physical evidence from the crime scene. This can include items such as fingerprints, DNA samples, weapons, clothing, or any other objects that may be relevant to the case. Proper techniques and tools are used to ensure the preservation and integrity of the evidence. Fifth, packaging and labeling. Each piece of evidence collected must be properly packaged and labeled to maintain the chain of custody. This ensures that the evidence can be traced and authenticated throughout the investigation and legal proceeding. Sixth, documenting chain of custody. The chain of custody is documented to track the movement and handling of the evidence from the crime scene to the laboratory and throughout the investigation. This is important to maintain the integrity and admissibility of the evidence in court. 7. Transporting and storing evidence. Evidence is securely transported to appropriate forensic laboratory or facility for analysis. Proper storage conditions are maintained to prevent contamination, degradation, or loss of evidence. 8. Analyzing and processing evidence. Forensic experts analyze and process the collected evidence using various scientific techniques and methods. This can include DNA analysis, fingerprint comparison, ballistics testing, or other specialized examination to extract relevant information. 9. Documenting and reporting findings. The result of the forensic analysis are documented and reported in a comprehensive and objective manner. These findings can be used to support the investigation and provide evidence in court. And lastly, presenting evidence in court. If the case goes to trial, the collected and analyzed evidence may be presented in court to support the prosecution's case. Proper documentation, chain of custody records, and expert testimony are crucial for the admissibility and credibility of the evidence. It is important to note that the specific procedures and protocols may vary depending on the jurisdiction and the nature of the crime. Law enforcement agencies and forensic laboratories follow standardized practices to ensure the integrity and reliability of the evidence throughout the investigation process.
Forensic chemistry is the application of chemistry and its subfield, forensic toxicology. In a legal setting, a forensic chemist can assist in the identification of unknown materials found at the crime scene. Specialists in this field have a wide array of methods and instruments to help identify unknown substances. So, think of a forensic chemistry like detective, but instead of using a magnifying glass, they are using their knowledge of chemistry and specifically a part of it called forensic toxicology. They step into legal world, helping to solve mysteries that come up in crime scene. Imagine finding unknown substances at a scene. A forensic chemist comes in and uses all kinds of cool techniques and tools to figure out what it is. It's a pretty wide field with lots of different methods to help crack the case. And there are 7 basic principles of forensic chemistry. The law of exchanging, the principle of individuality, law of comparison, principle of linkage, law of probability, law of progressive change, and law of analysis. First is law of exchanging, principle of exchanging that was given by Sir Edmund Lockhart. Every contact leaves a trace, or in simple words, he said, when two objects come into contact with each other, a cross transfer of material occurs. He strongly believed that every perpetrator can be connected to a crime scene or crime by their footprints, fingerprints, hair, their clothes, fiber, or even the particles or soil carried at crime scene or brought from the scene. How does it work? According to this principle, when a perpetrator and or his or her instrument of crime touch and come in contact with objects at the scene or the victims, then they leave a traces. Or on the other hand, they can also bring the other things knowingly or unknowingly. So there is the mutual exchange of things takes place between the perpetrator, victims, and objects and scene. This is the ability of the investigator to search and find any physical evidence that depends on the skill, experience, and knowledge of the investigator. In cases of murder, investigating officers gather different types of evidence such as fingerprints, footprints, blood samples, soil samples, and tools used in the crime scene. Additionally, they may collect hair from the victims, thus from the crime scene, or even grass from nearby areas if the crime scene is located in the garden. This principle is known as the principle of exchange, where objects and individuals involved in a crime scene leave behind traces of evidence. It is rare to find a crime scene where no evidence exists. However, if the perpetrator comes into contact with the victim or any object involved, there may be lack of exchange of traces. Overall, this principle reflects the natural process that occurs during a crime investigation. Second is principle of individuality. The principle of individuality holds significant importance in forensic science. It recognizes that everything in nature is unique, and even nature itself does not create exact duplicates of living things. To illustrate this, let's consider the case of monozygotic twins. Although they may appear identical, there are some differences that set them apart from each other. Similarly, if we examine the leaves on the same branches of a plant, we will notice a difference between them. This individuality is a characteristic of nature. You might be thinking about objects that are created by human beings. Well, even in the human-made things, individuality exists. Every item, whether it's a piece of artwork, a tool, or a structure carries its own unique features or characteristics that make it different it from others. These individual traits is important in forensic investigation. This can help identify and differentiate one object from another. One interesting example that shows the principle of individuality is firearms. Firearms are similar to each other in the reasons that it is created in the same factory, the same batch, by the same machine, and with the same workers. They are different, but they are different to each other based on their class characteristics as well as individuality characteristics. By carefully examining both the class and individual characteristic of firearms, forensic scientists can determine if a particular firearms was involved in a crime, and in some cases, even match it to a specific firearms in questions. According to Sharma, of forensic science in criminal investigation and trials, the definition of the principle of individuality is that every object, natural or man-made, has an individuality, which is not duplicated in any other object. It is unique, neither the nature has duplicated itself, nor can man. Third is law of comparison. As we know, only similar things can be compared with similar. For example, gold can be compared with gold only, not with silver. This is the principle of comparison that explains that different things cannot be compared to each other while only similar. Another example is when an investigating officer finds human blood at a crime scene. In this case, it would be pointless to send animal blood for analysis because it will not provide any useful information. Forensic expert cannot determine the truth or make any significant conclusion if the two exhibits are different from each other. Therefore, the principle of comparison is applied to all physical evidence. Essentially, it is the duty of the investigating officer to properly identify and collect physical evidence and then send it to the forensic science laboratory for analysis. Fourth is principle of linkage. As we all are familiar with this quote, people lie, but evidence does not. According to this principle, when an investigating officers find physical evidence at a crime scene, it becomes possible to establish a connection between suspect and a victim. This connection can be either direct or indirect depending on the nature of the physical evidence. In addition to linking a suspect to a victim, the physical evidence can also establish a link between the suspect and the crime scene, as well as between the suspect and the specific physical evidence found. To better understand this concept, a figure is provided to visually depict the relationship. Here, in this figure, we can see the relation between the different elements of the crime scene, how they are related to each other. For more clearance, let me put the example that will remove out the fog from the fact. Here's a humanized version of your example. Let's take the example of fingerprints. Fingerprints are incredible, valuable, and reliable physical evidence that can directly link a suspect to a crime scene without any doubt. They are unique to each other and can provide strongly evidence of someone's presence at a crime. In addition to fingerprint, advancement in laboratory techniques in forensic science have made it possible to use other types of evidence to directly link individuals to a crime scene. For example, toxicology evidence such as sample of viscera, plant or animal poison, and chemical poison can now be analyzed to establish a direct connection between a person and the crime scene. Biological evidence such as blood, semen, and saliva can also be crucial in establishing a direct link between a suspect and crime. These types of evidence can provide valuable DNA samples that can be matched to the suspect, further strengthening the case against them. These various types of evidence play a crucial role in criminal investigation, helping to establish the guilt or innocence of a suspect. Fifth is law of probability. Let's consider a common example to understand how probability is used in forensic science. Imagine a bank robbery where the investigating officer needs to determine which gang is responsible. The officer has to assess the probability of each gang being involved in the crime based on the available evidence. Similarly, forensic scientists use probability when analyzing physical evidence. For instance, if a forensic scientist receives blood or other biological fluids as evidence, they need to calculate the probability that the blood belongs to a specific person. This probability can range from 90% to 100%, depending on the nature of the evidence and analysis conducted. It's important to note that the probability can vary depending on the type of physical evidence being examined. Different types of evidence have different characteristics, which can influence the probability calculation. For example, DNA analysis can provide a higher level of certainty, resulting in probabilities close to 100%, while other types of evidence may have a slight lower probability. We're noticing one thing, that it is varying according to physical evidence. It will vary because different evidence has different in nature. Probability is a mathematical concept according to Sharma. According to Sharma of forensic science in criminal investigation and trials, principle of probability determines the chances of occurrence of a particular event in particular way out of a number of ways in which the event can take place or fail to take place with the equal capacity.
6. Law of progressive change. As you know that everything is changed with passage of time. Or in other words, we can say that nothing is permanent until or unless one day it will change from one form to another. Here's an example that we can relate to our own journey from our ancestors to becoming the individuals we are today. It's a remarkable transformation that applies not only to humans but also to many other things in life. Now, let's consider this in the context of crime. When a crime is committed, the perpetrator uses various instruments or tools to carry out the act. These instruments become crucial physical evidence in the investigation. However, it's important to understand that these pieces of evidence can change their nature over time. If these evidences are not properly recognized, preserved, and properly forwarded to forensic science laboratories, they may deteriorate or become contaminated. This can lead to false results and hinder the progress of investigation. That's why it is vital for the investigating officer to recognize the importance of physical evidence and ensure its preservation as soon as possible. In the example of our own journey, we can see how progress changes occur. Similarly, when a crime is committed, the passage of time can bring changes to the perpetrator's appearance. Their face and body texture may alter, making it more challenging to identify them accurately. Therefore, it becomes crucial for investigators to act swiftly in the recognizing and preserving physical evidence. By doing so, they increase the chances to obtaining reliable results and successfully identifying the perpetrator. Time plays a significant role in investigations, and timely recognition and preservation of physical evidence are essential for a successful outcome. In summary, just our own journey undergoes progressive changes. The nature of physical evidence in a crime can also transform over time. Recognizing and preserving this evidence properly is crucial for accurate analysis and successful investigations. So, this is principle of progress change that applies on physical evidence as well as human being. 7. Law of analysis. Law of analysis that is most important from the investigation point of view. When it comes to analyzing physical evidence, forensic scientists play a crucial role in providing their expert opinion based on their analysis. After a crime is committed, the perpetrator often leaves behind physical evidence at the crime scene. It is then the responsibility of the investigating officer to recognize and preserve this evidence for further analysis at the forensic science laboratory. During this process, the investigating officer must exercise caution and care when handling the physical evidence. Improper sampling or contamination can render even the best analysis useless and compromise the integrity of the evidence. To illustrate this point, let's consider an example. Suppose the investigating officer comes across blood and biological fluid at the crime scene. If the officer collects and preserves these exhibits with bare hands without taking proper precautions, the result of the analysis could be disputed. Contamination from the officer's own DNA or other external factors could affect the accuracy and reliability of the analysis. Therefore, it is essential for the investigating officer to follow proper protocols and procedures when dealing with physical evidence. This includes using appropriate protective gear such as gloves and sterile tools to minimize the risks of contamination. By doing so, the officer can ensure that the evidence is preserved in its original state, allowing for accurate analysis by forensic scientists. In summary, the investigating officer plays a critical role in recognizing and preserving physical evidence for forensic analysis. It is important for the officer to handle the evidence with care and take necessary precautions to avoid contamination. By doing so, the integrity of the evidence is maintained, allowing for reliable analysis and ultimate contributing to a successful investigation. According to Sharma of Forensic Science in Criminal Investigation and Trials, this principle emphasized the necessity of correct sampling and packing of the physical evidences. So now, we will have the definition of the principle. The analysis can be no better than the sample analyzed. We can conclude that these principles of forensic science can lead the foundation for the subject. Moreover, these principles are the soul for the subjects, students, as well as investigating officer. These principles teach us how to treat with the physical evidence, and also if you will go in the right direction, it means you are doing everything right, you will have best results. Otherwise, wrong result. After studying this lecture, students will know the principle of forensic science and how these principles lead the crime scene. As we have seen in the principle of exchange that stated, every contacts leave trace. It depends on the skill, expertise, and knowledge of investigating officer to identify them. Moreover, like this principle, other principles also work in the same manner, for example, law of analysis. If you will give the good sample indeed, you will have best results in your bucket. In the last, we can say that all principles work together.
Scientific evidence. Scientific evidence refers to the collections of facts, data, and observations that are obtained through the scientific process. This information is gathered either in a laboratory settings or in the field. It is considered empirical evidence because it is based on direct observations and measurements. Empirical evidence plays a crucial role in supporting scientific theories and hypotheses, as it provides tangible and objective supports for scientific claims. By relying on empirical evidence, scientists can draw conclusions and make informed decisions based on the data they have collected. There are four forms of scientific evidence: the real or autoptic evidence, testimonial evidence, experimental evidence, and documentary evidence. Real or autoptic evidence: when we talk about evidence that is addressed to the senses of the court, we mean informations that can be directly observed or experienced by the court's senses. It's not limited to what can be seen, but also includes what can be heard, taste, smelled, or touched. And a courtroom evidence is presented to help the judge and jury understands the facts of a case. This evidence can come in various forms such as testimonies from a witness, audio recordings, physical objects, or even samples that can be taste or smell. By appealing to the different senses to the court, gathered a comprehensive understanding of the situations of hand. Testimonial evidence. When we talk about the declarations of truth or facts by an expert, we are referring to our solemn and formal declarations made by an individual who possesses specialized knowledge or expertise in a particular field. These declarations is made orally by a witness who is under oath and responding to the questions posed by a lawyer during in interrogations. In legal proceedings, such as trials or hearings, the testimony of expert witnesses holds significant value. These experts are called upon to provide their professional's opinion or factual informations based on their expertise and experience. They are sworn in to take an oath to tell the truth before sharing their testimony. The purpose of this process is to provide the court with reliable and informed perspectives on complex matters. The testimony of expert witness helps the court better understand the fact of the case and makes informed decisions based on the evidence presented. Third one is experimental evidence. When we talk about the form of evidence, we are referring to situations where an expert or medical witnesses may be called upon to conduct specific experiments in order to provide evidence to support a particular matters of fact. In legal proceedings, there are instances where the court requires scientific or technical expertise to establish or verify certain facts. In such cases, an expert or a medical witness with specialized knowledge and skills may be asked to perform experiments or tests to gather relevant data or demonstrate a particular phenomenon. By conducting these experiments, experts or medical witnesses aim to provide the court with reliable, and objective evidence based on their expertise. The results of these experiments can play a role in influence the court's decision-making process, as they provide tangible and scientifically sound evidence. Fourth one is documentary evidence. When we talk about this concept, we are referring to a wide range of materials that can be used as evidence to prove the contents of a case. These materials include writings, recordings, photographs, or any other form of media that contain letters, words, sounds, figures, symbols, or any other forms of written expressions. Scientific evidence has a wide range of applications in the various fields. Here are a few examples. First, medicines and healthcare. Scientific evidence is used to evaluate the safety and efficacy of drugs, medical treatments, and procedures. Clinical trials and studies provide empirical evidence to support the development of new treatment and interventions. Second, environmental science. Scientific evidence is crucial in understanding and addressing environmental issues such as climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Data collected through scientific research helps in identifying causes and impacts of these problems and guides policymakers in making informed decisions. The third, forensic science. Scientific evidence play a crucial role in criminal investigations. Techniques such as DNA analysis, fingerprints analysis, and ballistics provide objective and reliable evidence that can be used in a court to establish guilt or innocence. 4. Engineering and technology. Scientific evidence is used in the designs and developments of new technologies and engineering solutions. It helps engineering understand the behavior of materials, test the performance of structures, and ensure the safety and reliability of products. The fifth one, education. Scientific evidence is used to inform educational practices and policies. Research studies on teaching methods, curriculums development, and student learning outcomes provides evidence-based strategies for improving educational system. These are just a few examples, but scientific evidence is applicable in almost every field where objectives and reliable.
Fix. Physical evidence refers to any material object that is presented in a trial to prove a fact related to the case. It is characterized by its demonstrable physical characteristics which can provide valuable information and insights. Physical evidence can encompass a wide range of objects including both complete items and fragments. There are two types of physical evidence, the fixed and movable. Fixed evidence, these are pieces of evidence that cannot be physically transported or collected in their entirety for analysis in the laboratory and presentation in court. For example, during crime scene investigation, you found bullet marks on the wall which cannot be moved or collected. It can only be photographed. And movable evidence, this refers to evidence that can be collected, moved, and delivered to the laboratory for examination, and can be presented in court in its original form without any alteration or modification. For instance, during crime scene investigation, you found hair follicle fibers, semen, and bullets. These can be collected and examined in the laboratory. Another kind of physical evidence is associative, tracing evidence, and corpus delicti. Associative evidence, these types of evidence is like a link that connects a person to a particular event or crime. It includes biological materials that are directly associated with an individual, such as fingerprint, bloodstain, saliva, or fibers. These materials can prove important clues, a proof of a person's presence or involvement in a specific situation. For example, fingerprint found at a crime scene can be compared to a suspect fingerprints to determine if they match, potentially linking the suspect to the scene. Similarly, DNA evidence from bloodstain or saliva can be analyzed to establish a connection between the individual and the crime. Tracing evidence. Tracing evidence is evidence that can help to locate or trace back to a specific person. This can be include items such as shoes left at the crime scene, identification cards, or the other personal belongings to a suspect. These items can provide valuable information about the individual presence or involvement in the crime. For instance, if a pair of shoes is found at the crime scene and can be linked to a suspect, it can serve as evidence that the person was present at the scene. Similarly, personal identification card or belongings found at the scene can help establish a connection between the individual and the crime. Corpus delicti or body of the crime. This refers to a physical evidence that proves the occurrence of a crime. It includes various types of evidence that demonstrate that a crime has taken place. For example, in a murder case, the body of the victim would be considered the corpus delicti. Other physical evidences such as weapons, bloodstain, or any object directly related to the crime can also be part of the corpus delicti. This different of evidence play a crucial role in criminal investigation and legal proceeding. They provide tangible and concrete proof helping to establish connection, locate individuals, and demonstrate the occurrence of a crime.